So we're going to be looking at issue number 1, titled Splash and the Last Airbender, which is split into 2 stories. The first story begins with a look at Waterboy, who appears to use toilet paper to cover his house to avoid getting things wet. We learn that Waterboy takes care of his grandma, which I'm kind of assuming, as we see him waking her up and helping her use the bathroom, all while navigating dozens of cats in the home. After getting his grandma set up watching TV, Waterboy gets ready and prepares to head out. On his way to work, he helps some ducks by giving them water, and later, while waiting at the bus stop, he gets coffee dropped on him, which makes his bus ride uncomfortable. He eventually arrives at his destination, which is the SDN building, where he will begin a new job as the janitor at the facility. However, while attempting to cross the road, Flambe runs him over. Eventually, Waterboy arrives inside the SDN and meets Mechaman. Now, part 2 of issue 1 follows Sonar and Malevola. We can assume the two are a couple and have been working together for some time at being villains, but they decided to put their time as criminals behind them, and Malevola shows Sonar that she found them a new job which is legal, and it requires them working for the SDN, which take in former villains to help reform them into heroes. Malevola insists on them taking the job the following day, which means they need to have one last bender before their new lives start. They head to Tits, Tails, and Tentacles, which is a strip club in LA. The two drink and enjoy some time with the strippers there, and eventually the duo is approached by some wannabe crypto bros. Sonar and Malevola take advantage of the situation and steal their cash, which they use on the strippers down at the club. Eventually, the two get batshit crazy drunk, head into space for a bit, and come crashing down back to Earth. Both Sonar and Malevola are absolutely hungover and tired, but they drag themselves to the SDF building and begin their new lives the following day. The first part of issue 2 finds Coupe while on a mission to assassinate a target. This is a normal night for her, as she brags about having killed 68 of her targets and having a perfect assassination rate. Her newest target is a small man watching TV who turns out to be Punch-Up. She enters the room through the window and sees that he's watching ballet. However, Punch-Up sees Coupe attempting to sneak up on him due to her knife's glare. Punch-Up is embarrassed and attempts to tell her that he doesn't usually watch that on TV. However, Coupe launches at him and attempts to kill him. However, Punch-Up is a lot stronger than he looks, and this leads to a fight which turns somewhat passionate. The two fight and banter a little bit and find out that they have a few things in common, which eventually leads the two to turn their meeting intimate. Punch-Up tells her that she's gorgeous, and the two make love all night long. Part 2 of the issue picks up where Dispatch episode 2 ended, and it shows Phenomenon Man and Blonde Blazers date in Tokyo. Once the two arrive, you see the paparazzi appear, and while Phenomenon Man loves this, Blonde Blazer seems to be getting tired of it. Blonde Blazer attempts to talk to Phenomenon Man about something serious, but he's too busy trying to eat and seems uninterested. Blonde Blazer asks him where she sees them in 5 years, and Phenomenon Man tells her that he sees them together fighting to protect the people of Earth alongside her. Blonde Blazer then reluctantly asks if superhero work is all they will do. Phenomenon Man says yes, as he wants to spend his life doing exactly what they're doing now, doing superhero work and fighting until they both die. Blonde Blazer, however, seems to be tired of this and tells him that she envisions a life where they can take a break, relax, and just be a normal couple. She wants time for Mandy, which is her real name, and wants to leave Blonde Blazer alone for a little bit. But Phenomenon Man says that Blonde Blazer is what she should be doing, and that's all that he wants. This helps Blonde Blazer realize that she and Phenomenon Man have reached their end, and so she breaks up with him, leaving Phenomenon Man completely shell-shocked. We are now taking a look into Dispatch issue 3 titled Get Up. The story begins in 1999 and it looks like the Brave Brigade are having a cookout. We find a younger looking Chase talking to Robert Robertson II, and they are debating whether or not to let Eli, aka Elliot Connors, into the team. Chase says that Robert should let the Brave Brigade members vote on it since they could get something out of it, kind of like Robert did when he got the Astral Pulse from Eli. They are interrupted by Elliot, who seems to be kind of annoying and getting in everyone's face. He begins to ask Robert II if he can be a part of the Brave Brigade, and Robert seems reluctant to let this happen. Then Chase accidentally spits his beer out and it lands on Eli, who has this glowy thing on the side of his head, and it looks like it hurts him a lot when the beer falls on it. Chase tries to clean it, and Eli pushes him off and leaves in anger. Suddenly, you hear a cry come out of the house, and Chase races inside. Robert Robertson III was inside messing with the Mechaman suit and accidentally activated it. It almost killed Robert III, who was saved by Chase and was only grazed in the ear. Robert III's arm would be dislocated, and when Robert II came in, his father, he looked at his son angrily and told him to get up. And then the comic cuts to, I think, the night he lost his Mechaman suit, and he forces himself to get up. Issue number 4, The Death of Mechaman. We find Robbie and Eli working together on the Mechaman suit, and Eli asks Robbie if he canceled the vote, which would decide his fate as an official member of the Brave Brigade. Robbie says he did, and this angers Eli tremendously, and he challenges Robbie to a fight. He tells Robbie that if he beats Mechaman, he'll become a hero and join the Brave Brigade, and that Robbie will have to give him back his astral pulse. Eli is also wearing a suit that he made for himself, and when Eli tells Robbie to get in the Mechaman suit, Robbie says no, that it would be a waste of time to even turn the suit on for a nerd like him. This pisses off Eli even more, and then Robbie throws a rag on Eli's face and punches him. Robbie then proceeds to beat the absolute shit out of him until Chase comes in and stops him. And a little bit later, it appears they may have taken Eli to get fixed up by one of their superhero friends, and during this, Chase tells Robbie that he could have killed Eli. Robbie says that Eli just doesn't have it in him, but if he shows up again tomorrow after the beating that he gave him, he'll know he has a hero on his hands, which Chase calls bullshit on. As Chase leaves, he heads to the elevator and waits for it to come, and when it opens, Eli comes out with Robbie's revolver and shoots him immediately. Chase tries to stop the bullet, but it hits Robbie in the chest and he bleeds out.